Okay, this video is going to talk about the CharAt method, one of the string methods that we're going to be using. And so before I do that though, I just want to show something that we just learned about the length method. I just want to verify with you through JGrasp how that when you have the variable dot length, which is how you use the length method, it will produce or return a number or an int. And so if you see this, I have string 2, and what's going to happen here is that let's see here. Okay, this is not working too well here, so I don't know what I'm doing. Let's see. Okay, so what's going to happen is the compiler is going to go to the variable string 2. Okay, that's not what I selected. Let's try this again. And it's going to apply the length method, which the task of the length method is to count the number of characters in the string literal. And so it goes to finds this storage location. It's storing boxes. It counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 characters in there, and it returns a 5. And now instead of length string 2 is being assigned string 2.length, it's being assigned 5, which makes it a whole lot easier. So now you have a memory location that's going to store a 5 in length string 2. That's where it's going to go. And so just to prove that and show that, then we're going to run this program, and you'll see how it does actually produce a 5. So this is replaced with the value 5. Okay, and that's how that works. Okay, now let's go to our notes, and here now now with length you are counting characters. So you start at 1. Whenever you count up the number of things, you go 1, 2, 3, 4. However, numeric positions don't operate like that. They start this numeric position. They start at 0, not 1. And so it's a good idea to put the numbers, the numeric positions, above your strings, each letter of your string or each character of your string. And so I like to put every other one, so I'm not writing every number. You can do whatever you want. So this is 8. Obviously this is not 0. This is 10, 11, 12. And so that's how I number it. You can number it however you want. But it's good to have those positions, otherwise you're always counting, and it gets to be a hassle. And so we're talking about the CharAt method. The first thing that we need to understand is, what is a char? A char is a data type. Alright, so you can see here we have data type and variable. Well, here we have data type, char, and variable. Alright, it's the same thing. So this is going to set up a memory location, and it's going to call it first letter, and it's set up as a char, and it's going to store a B in it. But it's not a string, it's a char. It's different. A char can only handle or store a single character. It cannot store more than one character at a time. And so this is designated by the fact that it has single quotes and not double quotes, because double quotes indicates a string. A single quote indicates a char, and the char will go into the char data type or a char variable, and it will not go inside of a string variable. And so, and a string won't go into a char variable. So what we're going to do here is, just to show this, we're going to bring this up, and I'll move this up here, and I'll go ahead and bring it down here. Alright, so here's how this works. Here's a char, some char, it's a variable, and it's going to store a C in it, and so we compile it and we run it, and we're going to print the value of some char, which is C. Okay, so that works. Now just to show you, if we were to put double quotes around them instead, which is a string, which indicates a string, it's not going to like that. Okay, so it actually produces a syntax error. Incompatible type. String cannot be converted to char. All right, so that's why we need to have just single quotes here. All right, and the other thing, while I'm in here, before we go back to our notes, we're going to take a look at the CharAt method. Now the CharAt method is going to be, it's, oh gosh, really? Seriously? Okay, so the CharAt method, wow, is going to follow the same pattern as the length method. All right, so what we're going to have is it's going to start with the variable that is storing the string, a dot, and then the name of the method. So it's the same as with the length method where we did variable dot method. This is variable dot method, and so it's going to go to string 1, which we need to go here. So I need to clear this. So what it's going to do here is it's going to go to string 1 to the computer memory. Why does this keep doing this? I really would like to have the smaller one. It would just stay like that. And so it's going to go to string 1, and it's going to find the char or the character at position 2. It's going to find the character at position 2. Now this is a terrible example that I just put up here because just not a good example. I'm going to change this because this is awful that I would do this. So we're going to go 4. All right. So what it's not going to do, when we count, we start at 1, but positions start at 0. So it's not 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's going to print the L. No, or store the L. It's going to go to position 4, which that's why we write these up here so we don't have to count. So position 4 is going to be the E. You'll notice it's the 5th one over, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so it's going to store, so it's going to return an E. It's the character E that it returns. Now the E is going to be stored in str1 char, which makes sense because it's got a char data type. Okay, you can store a char in a char. And so then we go in here and we compile this. And then we're going to look, is it going to store that E and print it? So we're trying to print it here. And yes, it does print the E. That's how it works. Okay, so let's go back to our notes. And so the CharAt method, and I should have really put in here the CharAt method. That would make more sense. Returns the character located at a particular numeric position in a string. The CharAt method returns the character, which can be a letter, a number, a space, a symbol, a punctuation mark. So it returns the character located at a particular numeric position, these things right here, in a string. And we did that. We showed that in JGrasp. So so this is user.charat3, and so this is going to go up here to user. It's going to go to position 3, which is going to be right here, and so it's going to return an N. Okay, this one is going to be the 0 position, but it doesn't give a variable name, so it's just taking that string. So what is the 0 position of this string? And so, of course, 0 is the first character. So this is not an A, it's a capital A. All right, it's very important. And then the next thing here is that the system dot. Okay, so what we have here is what you should do is, you should pause the video and try to do C, D, and E. Now E is going to be a challenge. I would give it a shot before you look at the video, but pause this, do these three, and then come back and see what the responses should be. Okay, so you should at this point, let's see, I forgot to. Okay, so we have this set up now to work more properly. Okay, so user, okay, what is this going to do? This is the character at 1 in user, and so that would be the R here. And so that's an R. And then, well, I'll put it down here. And then it's going to join to that the character at position 7 in pet, and 7 is the A. And then the next one is going to go to the state, the string in the state location at position 3, which is going to be the G. So rag. Okay, in D, it's going to go to position 0 of user, so which is T, but it's not any T, it's a capital T. And then it's going to go to the pet variable and look in the string literal there and to take position 5. As you'll notice, 5 is actually a space, so there's going to be a space in here, and I'll just put an underscore just to indicate that, but it's not really printing an underscore. And then the length for state. All right, well, this is where you have to be careful because you're used to taking positions. Now what we're doing, so we're not going to go for state, we're not going to go, oh, well, that's 5. No, you're going to start counting here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's going to be 6. So it's capital T space 6. All right, this one down here, which is more of a challenge, we want to use the length and the CharAt methods to store the last character of any string. So notice then that you have this is why we need to understand what the code's saying. This is asking the user to enter their favorite movie. This line's going to read it and store it inside of the fave movie. If you don't know what I just said, then you need to come in and get some tutoring because we've been through this entire chapter 2. And so we don't know what the user is going to type. And so then what we do then is we want to write the code that's going to print the last character of the movie. So we're going to store it first of all in, we're going to declare a variable, and so that what should go in there then is this should be char, and then the name of the variable is last char of movie name, and then what are we going to put in here to make it so that it will print the last of the name, last character. And so if we were, let's say that the user types Bambi, we want it to print the I. All right, but if the user types Mission Impossible, we want it to print and store and print the E. And so what happens is, how do we do that? Well, we know that if we're gonna do a specific letter, we got to use the CharAt method. And then what happens is we've got to put the name of the variable. So it's variable.method. So the name of the variable that's going to be storing that string is fave movie. So we're going to go variable.method, FAVMOVIE, and so movie.method. Well, CharAt, so it's the character at a certain position. Well, what position do we want it to be at? I said use the length method. All right, well, let's just put that length method inside here because the length method is going to present a number. And all the CharAts, as you notice, they have numbers inside. All of them have ints. Well, that's what a length method produces, is an int. So that's going to work. And so it's the length of, let's say, of whatever the user types is going to be, of course, in fave movie. So we'll go variable fave movie dot method length. All right, and there we go. Now let's see what that does. If we look at that, what is the length of the variable in there? Let's just take Bambi for instance. All right, so what's going to happen is we're going to go here. We're going to go length is 1. Oh my gosh, are you serious? Oh, jeez, this is really getting old. Okay, so this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's going to return a 5 here. All right, so this now is saying favemovie.charat 5. So the character at position 5 of fave movie. Well, the character at position 5 is it starts at 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 puts you 1 past the last letter. Well, let's check Mission Impossible. Well, the length starts at 1, so you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 16, 18. Well, this is 18 for Mission Impossible. And so position 18, I should have picked something shorter. So the position 18, though, it starts at 0. And actually 18, you'll find out, position 18 is after the last letter. And so, I don't know if you've thought of this already, but what happens is we need to take whatever the length is and then subtract 1. And so that will make it, in this case, position 17. The faster one is Bambi at 5. It was 5. 5 minus 1 is 4. Well, what is in position 4 for fave movie? So fave movie, the CharAt position, not 5, but 4 because we're subtracting 1. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 puts it at the very last letter, and that'll work for every variable that is stored in here. All right, so that's CharAt, and we'll stop with that.